Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Belinda and today we're going to be colouring up this beautiful image by Nathaniel Wake from his Mythological Colouring Book. Let's have a look. Welcome back guys. This one's kind of like a speed tutorial. I only use a few colours through it because I'm using the chameleon pens. The image is from Nathaniel Wake's Mythological Colouring Book. It's a really cool image and I wanted to give it a go for the Halloween sort of theme. I'm using a black chameleon pen with a YG3 colour top on top, and I'm doing the hat at the moment. So to do the chameleon pens, I hadn't used them before, so I did have quite a bit of a play with them, and I did feel that it was actually better to use a lighter marker and put a darker colour top on top of it. It seemed to work a lot quicker and it didn't take as long to transfer colour and things like that, putting dark into the lighter colours. Whereas if I was doing it the other way and using the black, which I am now, and putting the YG3 on top of it, I did have to wait quite a long time for that lighter colour to draw through into the darker colour. So just be wary of that too. If you find that's happening and you don't want to take as long, then swap it around, use the YG3 colour marker and then add the black colour top on top of it to alternate it a little bit, and that should be a little bit quicker for you. So I'm also using Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 80-pound paper here as well. I also tested Espresso blending card, which was also really good with them. It was really easy to use, nice and smooth, and it came up really nice and clear as well. So there's another paper alternative. I would definitely use a marker paper of sorts. They are still alcohol markers, so you're still going to get bleed through and things like that onto the back of it, so make sure that you've got something underneath while you're colouring as well. So this is the speed version of the video. I do have a full video where I go into a little bit more detail. We talk about how long the marker top should be kept on and things like that. Also I've got a comparison chart there as well for people who don't have chameleon pens, so if you wanted to look at something like that, please pop over and have a look at it at Patreon. I've popped the link in the description below there, but it is included with the full video as well, so you can check that out. So for the orb, I just did the grass green, which is GR3, and also YO2 and a little bit of YL2, and I just went in and softened the edges off with that. I'm using NU1, which is nude, plus the YG3 just to do the outside of the skin areas. I did use the NU3, NU0 and NU00 to fill out the rest of the skin areas, but not as a colour top on top. So the only part I did a colour top on with the skin areas was actually the green section, and the rest I just wanted to fill in because the areas were quite tiny, and I didn't want to have to do swap over the colour tops just for that very, very tiny section there, so I didn't actually use them for those sections. So I had a little bit of trouble figuring out what colours to use next, so I did use my phone app with the colour wheel just to have a look at what colours might go together. So I ended up picking like some purple, red, green, and a little bit of orange yellow as well. So I wanted to make sure that the colours were complementary to each other so that the image would work out okay. So for the nails I do next, I'm actually going to use the burgundy RD5 marker with the coral red topper on it, and then I actually decide to change it around. So as I said earlier, I use the lighter marker and then I put the darker topper on the top just to make that stand out a little bit more. So I did play around first with doing just black marker with the RD5 on top, and it didn't work as well. So again, doing the RD marker with the black topper on top worked a lot better, and it gave me more of an effect that I was looking for. So I kind of just randomly put in from light to dark in each of these sections in the background there, tried to do them sort of opposite each other as well, so that all of the black didn't sort of end up against black and things like that. But I had a load of fun doing the background. It was really quick. The markers are really nice. The nibs are a little bit smaller than something like Copic marker, which have nice big super brush nibs, which I love, but I think that's why a lot of the image took a lot more time. Also too, I did notice after using the markers for a little while, the nib does get a little bit softer, and if you put the color top on, sometimes the nibs don't actually touch up if you've used it and it's sort of bent over slightly. So I did find that I had to keep straightening that nib up a little bit just to make sure that the two are connected together really well when I was placing those color tops on. The image overall took me approximately 3 hours to do. Now, I think that the reason that it took so long was because I was constantly swapping over color tops and things like that. So I think it would be really interesting to do a little bit of a test and do the same image with similar colors to see how quickly it would take in Copic markers, but that's for another time. I do feel that there was a lot more time spent on this than I would have spent if I was using Copics though. So I'm moving on now to do a little bit of violet. So it was VO4 there, and I'm using some pink, which is PK3, and I'm just going into the clothing areas, and I'm trying to sort of make the darker color go over those shadow areas and then bring that lighter color out further. So of course I've used the lighter color on as the actual marker, and then I've used the darker VO4 as the color top in that one. Now with the clothing, I wanted lots of different colors through there, but I wanted to keep them quite similar, so I swap using the PR4, and then I use some yellow on top of that marker for a little bit, and I also use the lighter PK3 in there as well. So just mixing it up a little bit. I love the way that the yellow and purple go together, so putting the yellow on top of that darker color really made it look nice and orange. I do swap over the markers and do the yellow marker and put the darker PR4 on top of that in a little while just to see what the difference was. I actually preferred this one the opposite way, so I actually preferred it being the PR4 and then using the YO2 color top on top of it. I felt that it blended out really nicely, and I really liked the way that the purple sort of turned orange in that, so I did really like it the other way a lot better. So I guess in saying that, before I said that, you know, it's better to use the darker markers with the on top of the lighter ones, but sometimes the effect is different, so make sure you check it out before you decide which way you're going to go. So I randomly mixed up those colors. I used the VO4, PK4, PR4, YO2 through that to create sort of a different effect on the different areas of the clothing. So I wanted them sort of to stand out from each other. It looks like she's wearing some sort of big coat over the top of another outfit, so that's why I did them sort of different colors as well. When I come up to doing sort of the skull thing, it's sort of hanging on the side of her top there. I actually wanted to bring in some of the color that I was going to use in her hair as well, just to balance out the picture a little bit, and I like to sort of do that, have some of that sort of color somewhere else in the image just to balance it, as I said. So for the hair, I did move in and do, I forgot the little bit of skin there too in the middle of her outfit there, so I'll go and fill that in as well. I went back to the PR4 and the PK3 to do the belt, and I'm just coming in and we're going to do some of that skull on the side, as I said before there. I'm going to use some OR4 and also some red 5 or RD5, and I'm just going to go in and mix those two colors together. They come up really awesome as well. I love the blend between those two. That was really nice, so I decided to use that in the hair a little bit too. So I'm going to use YO2 as my main marker and use the RD4 as the color topper for that one. So I worked the markers so that the darker areas were on the bottom and the top of the hair, and then obviously we've got our little highlight section in the middle of each of those sections of hair too. So I wanted sort of still to create a little bit of a highlight in there as well. I do think that I probably could have gone a little bit lighter with that yellow and used a brighter yellow, but look, it came out okay in the end, and I quite liked how it came out, and it all fitted in well together as well. Just finishing off those little skin areas there that I hadn't done. I also put a little bit of the green in the eyes, and I'm using some of the NU4 and some YO2 for the staff. I just wanted to make that like a brown color with a little bit of a highlight on there because she's still got that orb there. And I really liked putting that green through to make it look like a little bit of a glow, which I'm doing here. So I'm using NU0 with the YG3 just to create that sort of highlighted look on the edge, and then I wanted to add a little bit more into it. So I'm using the VO4 marker with the green color topper on it, the YG3, just to create that glow on the opposite side there as well. I had the PK3 and a little bit more of the nude there, and I ended up just using the PK3 on that area without doing the color topping or blending. I just used the marker for a little bit there as well. So as I got further down into the little detail parts, it did get harder and harder for me to do the actual color top sections, and it was a little bit quicker for me just to go in with the colored marker, so I guess that kind of defeated the purpose of using the chameleon pens. But I did try to do the best I could in those larger areas, obviously, and then in the smaller areas I've kind of skipped through a couple of those. But as I said, this was just a quick speed coloring and a little bit of a tutorial to show you what colors that I use. If you would like to see the full list and the full video, please pop over to Patreon and have a look. Guys, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Click on the little bell if you want notifications when I upload new videos. Leave a comment and let me know what you think of the chameleon pens. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Don't forget to drop in and say hi in the Facebook group. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Vero. Bye guys!